Okay, guys, we are on chapter five this week. And chapter five, I feel, is really powerful because we're starting to do a little bit of a shift from just the pregame ritual to now we're talking about a daily operating system. And this is where we can start to see our consistency really compound.
Right.
Like and like I said, so remember we talked about our pregame ritual, that big moment, the Super Bowl or whatever you want it to be. That prepares you for the moment. But routines are going to shape who you become.
Mm-hmm.
And these routines will compound. It's compounded interest. It's going to grow. One of the things that I kind of took away from this, if I had to kind of summarize this chapter, and I try to do this with every chapter, I try to kind of pull like one line, one succinct phrase. And what I pulled out of it was this: what you do daily determines your emotional default. And I think
Okay.
that's a really succinct way to kind of summarize this entire chapter. The text emphasizes that you can predict somebody's success just simply by observing their daily routine. Now, that's
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable. That's kind of scary. But it also speaks to maybe more, it keeps us honest. You don't have a motivation problem. Maybe you have a pattern problem.
Mm-hmm.
And a question to ask yourself: if somebody looked at the very first hour of your day, would they predict growth?
I think so.
You think
I think
so?
so too.
Awesome. Then that means
Hmm.
we're in good company here.
Hmm.
Yeah.
We are already doing, at least in some fashion, some kind
Hmm.
of a morning routine. It may not be the ninja morning routine, but it is
Hmm.
something that is designed to encourage growth. And somebody looking at that would say, you know what? That person's on their way to something. So diving more into the four-step ninja routine, does anybody what remember what those four steps are?
Yes. Gratitude,
Throw them out there.
positive. Oh,
Go ahead, sorry.
oh, uh, gratitude, positive reading, affirmations, and writing two personal notes.
Hmm. Just four. Simple, right?
Hmm.
Let's kind of break it down. I mean, it's beautifully simple. And gratitude, you start the day with gratitude. And gratitude is probably one of the most important things. And the text talks about why, if you skip that step, you start to have some problems. We'll dive into that here in a minute. But gratitude is simple, just giving thanks for what you have. And the text even mentioned, oh man, what was her name that was mentioned in the very beginning? Miranda? Come on, you guys remember, right?
Yes, I think it's either Miranda or Amanda.
It wasn't an Amanda. It wasn't a white girl's name. It was it was a Latina or something.
Yeah, but I know
That's
who
what
you're
we're
talking about
doing.
though. Yes.
I can't find it now. I'm looking at it. Maria.
Mm,
There it is. Or we're gonna say Maria. So,
Maria.
so with Maria, it Kendall talks about how she was living in her mom's basement
Hmm.
and found gratitude in that
Yes.
space. Maria talked about how the most powerful part of the ninja selling process was that morning routine, and it starts with
Hmm.
gratitude. So, my point here is that even in the most dire of circumstances, we can find gratitude. Maria
Hmm.
found it in her mom's basement with, as a single mom of a couple of kids. I have found it in some very otherwise terrible situations when I was on deployment in the Middle East, and sometimes it sucked, you know. But you can find gratitude in those places. You can find gratitude with the people that you have around you. You can find gratitude in your own place, even your own current predicament. It may not be what you want it to be, but you
Hmm.
are who you are. You're shaped by your experiences. And is that not something we could show gratitude for?
Hmm. Yes.
Sometimes it hurts when you're going through it, right? That's never fun. Now the real test, if you're able to appreciate the pain
Hmm.
for what it is. When you go to the gym, that pain that you feel, well, that's a muscle tearing. And if you can come to the point where you really actually enjoy and appreciate that, oh boy, you've
Mhm.
crossed a boundary.
Oh, yes.
Now you're on the other side of a wall, and you're gonna just
Hmm.
because now you're starting to appreciate the process itself that gets you there. And your
Hmm.
Hey, I'm
gratitude.
not a fan of pain.
You say you're not a fan?
Not a fan.
Nobody really
Me
is,
either.
right? But what I'm saying is simply is that if we can understand and appreciate even the pain points, acknowledging that it's going to bring us to a place of growth,
Yeah,
that's a big thing if we can
them
get to that
growing
point.
pains.
Yeah.
I don't like them. I vote against them. Sorry.
So you might be oh, what are the it's a Greek a hedonist, I think is what it is. What it is. Uh, it's a type of philosophy. It's just, seeking pleasure, avoiding pain, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah, avoid that a lot, but still end up in it. So I get what you're saying. Just
It's
you,
inevitable. And if we're honest,
yeah,
if we really zoom out and look at the macro or the meta,
Hmm.
if you will, uh, suffering is part of the human condition.
Hmm.
right. It is.
And that's about acceptance. When you just kind of just say, okay, this is what it is, the of course the next step is actually appreciating it and having gratitude for that. And the text makes a really good point, and something that I brought up, I referenced a second ago. You need to start with gratitude because if you move right into visualization without gratitude, visualization is going to turn into scarcity or a lack, and you're going to be reminded of all the things that you want but don't have.
Hmm.
I heard somebody the other day, and just kind of on a going off on a slight little detour here. I was watching a gentleman who is a philosopher, and he spoke about how we are at a place in our civilization, in human society, where we have very simple things, seemingly simple, that are available to almost everybody on the planet that 80, 100 years ago they never had. And the example that he gave was a hot shower.
Hmm.
And
Facts.
right. And he said, we live in, what is really luxury. And even at the lowest levels of our society, we have broad access to those types of simple luxuries that otherwise weren't available globally until about 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And he talks about how, and yet still our happiness factor is suppressed. And what he kind of said, he said, we have to look at happiness is being content with where you are and then subtract the envy. And this goes back to this idea of visualization. And if you don't start with gratitude, visualization is just going to simply turn into scarcity. You're going to be reminded of all the things that you have that you don't have.
Right. Hmm.
So your total happiness is is this idea of your happiness minus your envy. You're looking
Hmm.
at other people's stuff. You want other people's stuff. You're comparing yourself and your current position and predicament to those of others that have maybe gone before you, or and what's the saying that comparison is the thief of joy?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So start with gratitude. Start with gratitude. That's where you're going to find that that's where you begin.
Hmm.
Moving into positive reading, give your mind something intentional. And Kindle says, look, hey, even if it's just a couple of pages, that's fine. It's more about the habit and the routine rather than consuming a vast amount of material. And kind of my rule is this: never miss more than one day with anything that I want to do. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start flossing again regularly.
Hmm.
Never miss more than one day, because if you
Hmm.
miss more than one day, guess what? Now it's a habit, and and now my
Yes.
habit is going the wrong direction.
Hmm.
Never miss more than one day. So even if you're just doing a couple of pages a day, engage in some sort of intentional reading. For a lot of you, it might be, our text. It might be the Ninja Selling book. I Myself, I enjoy. Is anybody ever familiar with Marcus Aurelius? He wrote well, he didn't write it as a book per se. It was kind of like his journal meditations.
No.
And
Hmm.
it is on a method that is kind of referred to as a check it out sometime. That's my jam. That's my thing, and it is a philosophy that kind of is rooted in understanding what you can control and what you can't, and it's really a philosophy of acceptance. And anyways, the point is, have your daily reading, have your thing, and this is about protecting and guarding yourself before the whole world floods in and takes over.
Mhm.
This is about protecting your mental channel. And it pushes you into that positive state along with the the gratitude exercise. Uh, does anybody want to share what their daily reading is?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't read, and I think I need to.
Hmm.
What I have begun to do is I've begun to write.
Mm.
Mm.
And I used to have like 2 million sticky notes stuck all over my desk,
Hmm.
you know? And I changed that by where I take a piece of paper and I just start writing some things. I feel like you could trick your brain into thinking that what you're writing and what you're reading, because you write the stuff and then you turn around and you read it again,
Hmm.
right?
Mhm.
Um, you can trick your brain into not realizing that the stuff you're writing is gonna be in the future, but it's happening now,
That's so true.
Hmm.
Mm.
Hmm.
you know?
Uh,
So I've already written, I need a financial advisor to manage my $13 million.
Mhm.
You know, and it's just something that you do. But as far as reading, my sister has sent me books, and I honestly have just like brushed them off, but maybe I need to pick them up.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
where I'm at too. So I haven't well, I was reading Ninja Selling, but I was actually like listening, but the actual like, reading from hard paper, I'm gonna start picking that up. I have a couple of books that I'm trying to read, so I do want to incorporate that in my morning routine, but I have not yet. So,
I would say it depends on kind of what you want to focus on.
mm-hmm,
And like for example, me, the I one of the things that I struggle with is, and just this is me being vulnerable here, is emotional regulation. I
You're not the
and
only one.
and
You are not the only one.
and this is why I have turned to that philosophy of Stoicism and the readings of or the writings of Marcus Aurelius, and the day as a daily Stoic to help me regulate myself and just understand, there's what's happening is outside of your body and you're fine,
hmm
essentially. You know, if you're focused on something on growth, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill is a phenomenal, timeless classic. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Carnegie
I
is
got that one.
a powerful book.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for books just kind of on personal financial wealth strategies or development, Rich Dad Poor Dad is quintessential reading. The Richest Man in Babylon, I think, is a timeless classic. One of my favorites is The Millionaire Next Door
Mm-hmm.
because it
I just
redef
bought that one.
great book. It redefines, I
Dang,
think,
Kayla, where are you getting all these books
See,
from?
from Audible.
Audible.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I listen to a lot of books more than I do read them.
Mm-hmm.
But now The Millionaire Next Door, I think, is one of the best books because for a lot of low and middle class, they look at this idea of wealth and they think it's like the Donald Trump version of wealth with a golden toilet and all
Mm-hmm.
this like
Yeah, it's
stupid
not
stuff.
that.
It's not that at all.
No.
Most millionaires that I know, and I know a lot of millionaires, most millionaires that I know, they drive Toyotas and Hondas.
Amen.
Mm-hmm. So
You
The
know,
Millionaire Next Door, is that by Thomas J. Stanley? Because I've seen a few of them and I want to make
it
sure I
is
got the right
Stanley.
one.
Hold
Okay.
on, let me make sure.
Because it said the number one, the phenomenal number one bestseller.
I think it
So
is Stanley. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
Stanley.
good. So I bought the right one.
Most times I can remember authors, and then of course when you
Mm-hmm.
prompt me, I'm like, I don't remember. But it kind of depends on what you're reaching for in that
Yes.
moment, what area of growth
Mm-hmm.
that you're focusing on, for sure. So, uh, anyways, rant over. So positive reading, great way if you not are not engaging in some sort of, guys, again, it doesn't have to be much. It doesn't
Yeah,
have to be
just a
much.
little bit.
Just a couple
Mm-hmm.
of pages and just enough
Mm-hmm.
to get your mind going in that right direction. Affirmations, visualization,
Mm-hmm.
the third step. Kayla, you said you're like that's your
Mm-hmm.
thing, right?
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
Mhm. So basically, I have this YouTube video that I saved, and it's like a 2 hour affirmation. So
Mhm.
they say it, I listen, and then I repeat, and I just do that over and over and over again. I do know in the book it say to write down your affirmation 25 times, but I just because it's a bunch of them that actually resonate with me, so I kind of
You
just
shorten your
put it in
list,
my own way. Yeah. So yes.
right? So I'll be this is, if you guys are struggling with the positive reading part, this is the part that I struggle with because for me, and this is my struggle, I'm like, that's corny. That's hokey. Look,
Hmm.
let's just go, and
Hmm.
and maybe this is where I need to challenge myself and just be like, no, like because what for me, maybe the thing that it could do for me is maybe provide some clarity,
Hmm.
maybe provide some focus. And Lisa, if you'll allow me to maybe challenge you as well, because you sound like you're very similar to me, where you're just like, let me pound this Red Bull and let's freaking
Let's
go,
go.
but where are we going?
Right. Okay.
I don't know. I can give you a list because
Well,
I'm going somewhere.
I hear you,
Hmm.
but and to take away from Eric, I'll say that I've met a lot of people like this where they are all thrust and no vector. They expend an enormous amount of energy, and this is and I'm preaching to myself right now because this is something that I do a lot. I do a lot of things, but none of them as well as I would like
Hmm.
because I'm
So
not
that was
focused enough.
one.
And I think that affirmations and visualization would probably help me
Hmm.
become more intentional and more deliberate and more focused on what it is that I'm working towards.
And that's where I'm at right now because it's so much that I got going on right now. This week and I think last week, oh my God. But we're gonna talk though.
So
Because I just
this is an interesting idea, and this may
hmm
go back to why you're like I can't write down all my affirmations because there's 25 times because there's too many of
hmm
them. What do you
Why?
need to put down? Yeah.
you said yeah. It's
What do you need to put down? Like I would say, find your top three and then the rest just dump.
yeah, that's true. I
Jeremy,
should
that is
definitely.
exactly what I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing currently
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
because I was spread so thin with so many things that I was trying to
Mm-hmm.
focus on that I realized what was actually making me money
Hmm.
was losing my focus wasn't on it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it would benefit me even though I love doing this and this. Maybe that should be put in as a hobby and not
Mm-hmm.
that much. So, me writing all these things down, what is it that I have to do? Seeing them on paper changes the whole game because
It,
it
Mhm.
shifts your focus.
yes, that's true. I
And,
totally
and
agree
and
with
really,
that.
this kind of goes back and just a little bit of a throwback to those that came to my agent success rally class on time blocking. We can put those things broadly into two categories: income producing or non-income producing
There we go.
activities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that's where I got that from.
Hmm.
I got the income producing, non-income producing, and all that did was go, what are you going to focus on?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
What is making you money? What is not making you money?
Right.
Why are you sitting there trying to do this and this
Mm-hmm.
when this is where your focus needs to be?
Hmm.
So I'm in the process of cutting a whole section of stuff completely out.
Sometimes you have to do that. And I had to go through a pruning process probably about a year or two ago when I was serving on all these different boards and committees. And I chaired, for example, the alumni board
Much.
up at Texas A&M. And I loved it. It was a great experience and I grew tremendously. However, it was taking a lot from me and it was not income producing at all. Um, I say that it may have had some ripple effects, but as a whole, it these were things that I needed to put down, and
Correct.
everybody has those in their lives, and you need to, I would argue, identify that, and that's the whole point of the affirmations is to focus on those things, but it's a good point though that we're going off on this little kind of like a subcategory to the affirmations and to the visualizations. You need to visualize narrowly in your scope.
Correct. Yeah. I truly believe that. I think you have to
Hmm.
like focus in. You've got to stop. You have to identify where the noise is coming from.
Hmm.
Oh, yes. I like the way you said that. Yes.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
got to figure out, okay, I'm hearing this over here. I'm hearing this over
Hmm.
here. No, where do I need to focus? I need to be right here.
Hmm.
Why do I need to be here? I need to be here because I'm getting this that's going to feed this. This is going to feed this. This is going to
Hmm.
feed my happiness. But at the end of the day, the truth is, I am simply trying to I've got to shut down the emotions and start working logically rather than this makes me feel like sunshine and butterflies.
Hmm.
Sunshine and butterflies is great,
Hmm.
but that's not where I'm at in my life. I need
Hmm.
more than sunshine and butterflies. I need dollar bills.
I know that's
Well, I get that, and but I wouldn't maybe challenge you a little bit here when we're doing our. Oh, did we lose her? She went
I don't
away.
know. Hmm.
She's gone forever. Well, maybe she'll watch the recording. So, oh
Oh,
wait,
there
she's
she go.
back.
Yes.
There she
Sorry.
is.
Sorry.
We're like, all right, I guess she's done.
I was trying to stop
Mm.
because my phone has rang like 16 times in the last five
Oh,
minutes, and I was trying to stop it and it shut
it
down.
killed us. But
Sorry.
I was going to challenge you a little bit here with the affirmations, with the visualizations. We we want to make sure that we're following our passions at the same time. And a lot of times, through the affirmation and the visualization process, we think it, yes, but then we need to feel it. And energy is going to follow our emotions. And if what you're doing and if what you're visualizing is an income producing activity, then of course the dollars are going to follow that.
Hmm.
But I wouldn't chase the close or chase the sell or chase the dollar for the sake of the close or the sell or the dollar. Don't let that be the means to the end. Otherwise, you're trading your passion and for something that is going to leave you, very quickly.
I mean,
Hmm.
and everything that I do, I really like doing. I love doing
Hmm.
everything that I do. It's just certain things they help me, like when I paint or when I do the
Oh,
artistic side of me.
yeah.
I love that stuff because then it takes me away from stuff. Does it sell?
Yeah.
Yes, it does sell.
Yeah.
If
Well, and
I
that's what we
focus
talked about
in,
before. That's your bounce back though. Remember, like when you go into a negative quadrant, you paint, you come back, and now that
Mm.
you're positive Lisa again. So have those things for sure. But it's probably not part of your affirmations and your visualization though.
yeah.
So
And
our last step,
that's the struggle. The struggle is narrowing the scope.
yes, yep.
Hmm.
I would say you need to be narrow in your
Yeah.
visualization about your what it is that you're trying to work towards.
Right.
The last step is writing two personal notes. Two, just two. That's not
Hmm.
much. But if you think about it, if you write two, especially if they're two different people, well, that's what, 700 something a year that you're writing. That's a lot of love and a lot of positivity that you're spreading out there in space.
Yeah.
Whenever I reread this chapter, it really convicted me and I started saying, okay, like, who do I want to encourage in my life?
Mm.
And I've got an 8-year-old that is wearing it's he's had some trouble sleeping, so he's kind of got like this little nose thing called an intake. It's basically kind of like a
Hmm.
breathe right strip, but it's like on steroids, and this thing actually freaking works for him. And he is more than just your typical 8-year-old, which are already scatterbrained enough anyways. He's got like some ADD things, and so this kid is I'm all the time like focus, 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 having to refocus this
There
kid.
is no
Mhm.
focus.
Oh man, my God. Like my first child was ADD to the max, and now I've got another one. I'm like, here we go again. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to put a note on his little box. I tell him every day, put your intake back in your little container. I'm going to put a little box on there that says you are so responsible. A little
Mhm.
note on that box. So I think that would be cool, you know.
Yeah.
So give love to those that are in your life, and feel free if you guys want, or maybe I'll just ask the question, and maybe it'll be just a rhetorical for you. Who are you writing your notes for, or who could you, or who should you be writing notes for, and for what purpose? You can share if you want, or we can just treat this as a
I
rhetorical.
actually write notes. I don't see my husband a lot because he works BNSF, so he's
Mhm.
gone, you know. So I'll leave little notes for him, and but they'll be so dumb, but it changes his whole thing. And then you ask me why, so that he keeps buying me stuff, Jeremy. I like when he buys me stuff.
No,
It's a love
no,
language.
no, that's not genuine.
Yes, it is.
It's a love
I
language.
genuinely like to be able to buy what I want.
Mhm.
Genuinely.
So if so so perhaps his love language is words of
Mhm.
affirmation, and that works for him. And your love language that you receive love in is gift giving. So if that works, I guess, whatever, go for it, you
Yes,
know.
he's not. Oh, he's not lovey-dovey at
Yeah.
all. Okay, but he's like, did you want a new computer? Yes,
Give
yes,
us
I wanted a new computer. How did
can
you know?
can we push you just a little bit here? You say they're like corny or cheesy or whatever.
Yeah,
Give
I'll
us an
be like,
example.
your haircut is amazing today. Look at you
Aw.
being cute
That's
like that,
cool.
and he'll be like, you didn't even see me because he writes back.
Wow, that's
Because
nice.
we don't see each other.
Mhm.
I'm leaving, he's coming in, or I've already left and he's coming in,
Mhm.
and he's asleep, and then I go to sleep, and then he's leaving. So we leave notes on the counter to each other, and that's how we
That's funny.
communicate.
Mhm.
He's like, you dummy, you haven't even seen me today. How do you
Here's
know?
the checkbook for the new computer.
I know. He's like, I left money in on the counter for you. I'm like, thanks, what's it for? He's like, lunch with the girls. Perfect.
Oh,
Oh, that's
I
cool.
love when you give me
That's
money.
cool.
yeah.
I would
Jeremy's
always
like,
write notes.
why?
I would always write notes to my wife, like, and it would be,
Mhm.
in July, I would write a note and put it in her winter coat so she would find it 6 months later. Um,
Oh.
yeah. And it would be something really, really cheesy like that. It would just be like, damn,
Mhm.
you're hot, or something like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just something. God, I see the sparkle in
Mhm.
your eye.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha.
Oh.
Just
Mhm.
kidding. Haven't seen you in like 4 days.
Okay, so now y'all have taught me how to write two personal notes because I didn't know that. I thought it was like two personal notes to yourself. So I actually haven't even started on
To
that.
your
So y'all
Oh,
kids.
just taught me. Yeah, now y'all taught me, and I'm definitely going to incorporate that because now I
And
know
you
how to
have
do
to
it.
add the signature with the two eyes and the
Hmm.
smiley
And
face
the
and the
smiley
tongue.
face.
And the
Yeah.
tongue. That's how he knows
Okay.
that it's me, because it's the little tongue that I put
the
there.
idea of writing the idea of writing a note to yourself is interesting and novel
Hmm.
though. And part of it also is because of the way that we perceive our future self. And I don't like just kind of
Hmm.
diving into psychology just a little bit. Whenever we envision our future self 10 years, 20 years down the road, the way that our brain thinks about it, it doesn't identify it as us.
Right.
Hmm.
The way that we think about it is as another person. So we're not very kind to our future self because we think it doesn't matter. It's not going to impact us. That's somebody else.
Hmm.
But that's an interesting idea that that because you're thinking about, and because this is just how we're wired, you're thinking about your future self as a different person. I might make an argument here that that still counts.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
what it might be interesting to do is to and you should still write two personal notes, I think, to other people as well.
Hmm.
But just, maybe as a bonus, it might be an interesting thing to write notes for yourself and then leave it somewhere where you know you're not going to find it for some time.
Mm.
And then it would
What
be
I was
interesting to see
thinking
what note
about
would come.
starting to do, because with my father dying, I I started to journal a lot more.
Hmm.
And I started to write notes to like Natasha or Moni or Carmen. And every day I'll do like a little section of it so that later when I'm not around, they'll be inspired by something or
That's
the
cool.
other,
That's cool. Yeah.
you know?
That's a
But
that's
I think
that's like
that's
a
that
that's like a
whole
meta
death thing.
note to somebody else. Like that's big though. That's cool. I
Yeah,
do the same
because
thing. I
later
leave a lot of
on,
voice memos.
yeah.
Hmm.
Oof.
So, but writing two personal notes, this is great because, think about how steps one, two, and three, who are we focused on? Ourselves.
Ourselves, yeah.
Gratitude,
Hmm.
now granted,
Hmm.
like, maybe with gratitude, sometimes we're looking at the people around us, but the idea here is that we're building up our inner self. Positive reading, we're
Hmm.
building up our inner self. Affirmations, visualization, we're building up our inner self. It's all about me, me, me in that moment. There's nothing wrong with that because you're charging
Hmm.
up, you're recharging, you're doing what you need to do to start your day. And then we shift and look outwards.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a project what
Hmm.
you built
Yeah.
yourself up
So
to
you have
be.
all this positivity. Great. Boom. Now let's give some love out.
Hmm.
And that's a cool thing because when you brighten somebody else's day, and for me, this is huge because
Hmm.
when I'm able to bring value to somebody else, man, that
It makes
makes
Feel
you
my
feel
better.
day.
good.
Yeah.
Yes, that's how I
Right.
am.
I
Yeah.
had somebody, and I got quite emotional. About 6 months ago, somebody told me, Jeremy, since I've met you, I now view the world differently. They kind of said that their horizons have shifted, their perspective has changed. And I'm like, oh my God, that was for me the highest compliment that anybody could ever pay me because that's exactly what I want to be. I want to be the person that impacts somebody so deeply that they don't look at the world the same way. And
Yeah.
but the point here is that if you are able to bring value to others, and I saw your heads nodding, everybody was like, yeah,
Hmm.
like how much more does that brighten up your day as well? And
Okay.
in some respects, maybe you're putting a little something in the bank because they themselves one day may give you some encouragement that you may be badly needing that day when it comes. And in building up other people around you whenever you're tired, whenever you're weak, and
Hmm.
sometimes you may not even know it, and you receive that boost from them. I got a call from a buddy of mine the other day, and Javi, one of my best friends, and he was just like, "Hey, dude, just checking on you." I was like, "Why, man? What's going on? Did I say something?" He was like, "No, just nobody ever
Yeah.
checks on the strong people." And
Oh.
and how are you,
Ah,
man? And I was
yeah.
like, "I'm good." But sometimes you don't recognize your vulnerability until somebody just
Hmm.
asks you, "Hey, how are you? Are you doing okay?" And
Yeah.
that's huge to be
That is
seen, to be
huge.
noticed.
Oh, yes.
So see people, notice people, and then write them a personal note about who they are, encourage them, thank them, connect with them.
Yeah.
That's a big thing right there.
Yes.
It's good. You know what? I work with so many veterans that are in a bad place in their mind. And they always tell me because I do a lot of home visits. I sit with them, I talk to them, I ask them what's going on, how they are. By the time we finish, I've
Hmm.
shifted their whole world.
Hmm.
They're like, nobody asks me these questions.
Hmm.
No one makes these corny jokes because I'm terrible at jokes. I can't do jokes, but I'll try and then I'll go peg peg and then they'll just roll.
That's
They'll be
great.
like, this girl comes over here just to make me laugh.
That's
It
cool.
changes everything.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
A kind word goes a long way.
Hmm.
So,
So remember, guys, whenever you want to start with gratitude, and I know we've talked about this, but I'm just kind of going in line with my notes here. Uh, visualization without gratitude, that's going to turn to scarcity, and then you're going to spiral. I've got a little note here I wrote down, and something that I feel is very quotable. Ambition without gratitude turns into frustration.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, that's good.
Yeah, yeah, right.
That's
Very
good.
cool. AI helped me with that. I didn't build that myself, so I wish I could claim it, but no, I thought that was a good takeaway. That if you just kind of look at it like
Mm-hmm.
that, ambition without gratitude will turn into frustration. And the idea here is just to remember that every day is a gift,
Yes.
Yes.
and and the text even kind of talks about this idea that nobody wants that arrogant ego, like this megalomaniac. Whenever you start to see success, and sometimes people turn into that.
Mm-hmm.
They think they're God's gift to real estate or whatever it may be. Uh, don't think you control the universe. Stay grounded, stay grateful, stay humble.
Yes.
That humility is going to sustain your performance because
Yeah.
you're going to recognize that you still have a lot to learn and you still have a lot to be
Yes.
grateful for. And
Yes. Correct. Absolutely.
Mhm.
so I'm going to challenge you guys. I want you to examine this and ask yourself, what would happen if just for 30 days, if you committed to just a four-step routine,
Mhm.
like what do you think would happen if you committed to that for 30 days?
Your self would change, your mental would change, your aura would change, your vibe would change, and then the world would actually change like it's like the universe will actually change for you because it's what you put out there in the universe is what you're gonna get back. So
Hmm.
that's what I feel.
Yeah,
I
and
have a friend of mine that he's an older gentleman, and he always, sometimes I'd be real down before I started doing things that I loved. And he always said the same thing: change your perspective, and the
Mm-hmm.
entire world will change.
mhm,
Yes.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. And this goes back to what I said. The ritual is going to prepare you for the moment.
Yep.
The routine is going to
Mm-hmm.
shape who you become. So if you for 30 days stay committed to this, you
Mm-hmm.
very well may become a different and better version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll end on that note.
Okay.
What questions do you guys have?
None. That
No,
from me.
me neither.
Cool. Well, I'm going to stop this recording then.